Side story, first day at Heartsword. Heath Caldwell. The early morning air of August threatens the heat of the upcoming day, but I am too dazed by the grand structure before me to focus on any of that. I am finally here, the only school in the world that can promise angelhood to its graduates. Heartsword Academy. The home of angels, archangels, demigods, and even a lone man who can match the gods. Grand stone gates, rising hundreds of feet into the sky, mark the entrance to my new home, standing tall and proud with intricate carvings and glistening in the morning sun. The main building is akin to a sprawling castle, with towers reaching towards the heavens and stained glass windows casting colorful patterns on the ground below. The distant chime of bells fills the air, accompanied by a rush of students heading toward orientation. I watch them pass as a gentle breeze rustles through the trees behind me, carrying the anticipation for the day. My hand tightens at my hip, where my sword lies. At the touch of my blade, I release a sly smile, thinking of my sister. Summer inherited our father's gun skills, so she is training with Aunt Elizabeth and her own burgeoning school, hoping to compete with the Heartsword. As for me, I am awful with firearms. I hate the smells, the noise, and the clunkiness. Claymores, however, are much more my style. Everything about them just feels so smooth. More than that, though, I've been told countless times that I'm talented with them. No, more than that. Mother has praised me for fighting like a man she once knew quite well. And it was that very same man who let me enter without any tests or qualifications. But I don't want that. It feels wrong, especially because there are others enrolling that I want to match. I won't be beneath them. I have to. I have to be the best. Why? Because only the best can beat my sister. And she's far too full of herself. The oldest has to knock the other down now and then, even if our clocks are only a few seconds off. But as I stand here in thought, someone collides with my shoulder. I step to the side, rebounding slightly from the impact, as I see a girl who invokes a bizarre sense of familiarity. Her locks of gold hair spread all the way down to her hips, not tied up in the slightest or worried about how they may affect her in combat. For a moment, a brief moment, I assume her to be one of the many who will be disqualified and kicked out early, but her eyes inform me otherwise. They are brilliant spheres of fire, and almost inversely, they send a shiver down my spine. A light smile greets me with an apology, but I don't even register the latter before she is gone. More bodies swarm, stranding me alone and without any sight of the peculiar woman. Who was that? I don't know, but I could swear I've seen her somewhere. Shrugging, I finally decide to stride forward as the bells of the academy ring louder, announcing that orientation is about to begin. Not wanting to miss it or the trials afterward, I hurry along with many other students. Countless voices share words, but I don't join in as we file through and enter the main halls and are directed to a massive auditorium. Thousands of seats fill up in minutes, and I sit beside a particular pair of chatty people. A male Batto and a female demon who are far more sociable than me. Again, this is another trait that sets me and Summer apart. I'd rather swing my sword all day long than go socialize for an hour. Summer? She doesn't need to train nearly as much as me. Her hands move those Colts as if guided by a divinity. Whoa, isn't this place incredible, Aura? I could fly in here. If my wings were that strong yet. A burst of laughter from this Aura, whose face is covered in spike-like needles, almost pierces past the cacophony around us. They'll get there. Why else are we here? For 15 years, this place has been the best. We just need to make it the full 6 years. I squint my eyes as I hear their enthusiasm. Are they aiming for all 6 years? How mediocre. Sure, you can take all 6 years to reach the angelic realm, but that is slow. I want to do it in 2 at most. That would set a new record for the academy. I believe the current is held by a Tyrannus, a talented demon who was taken in by one of the headmasters for training, who did it in 2.5. These two are just aiming not to be kicked out. A diploma from a first or second year, while influential, isn't quite the same as a third for 4 years. Now, the 5th years who nearly graduated are wanted everywhere while the actual graduates. My eyes rise to the stands above as the seats are now full. The 4 headmasters empty out from the side of the stage with a row of 7 students behind them. From here, I feel the ether emanating from them. While I might not have a sigil yet, Mother did teach me how to sense it. Otherwise, I'd never gain a sigil, and those 7 aren't hiding anything. They are all angels. Powerful. So strong. Maybe even stronger than Mother. Beside the headmasters, though, they almost pale in comparison as the archangels practically glow with a blinding radiance. Still, I know that while they are more powerful than Mother, Father could have handled them. Maybe even all at once. My eyes squint in shock as the tallest headmaster, a Nahalo woman, speaks to the whole population of expectant students. Hello all. I am Anodra, headmaster of Steel. We have over 10,000 of you this year. I believe before tomorrow, when classes are administered, we will have less than 100. Now, that is not to demoralize you. That should, if you are meant to be here, excite you. The Heartsword Academy is home not to the strongest in the world, but to those who wish to be. Every soul here reaches for strength, endlessly. Some flaunted their all because of a need to be respected. Some do it for others. Some are simply selfish and wish to be unrivaled. Whatever the reason, you will find it today. A torrent of information settles into my mind, and I nod along, feeling as though this is exactly what I wanted. I want to be strong. I want to live up to my father's legacy. I want to see the universe and all that it holds. I've heard stories from Uncle Wyatt, but nothing is truly the same as bearing witness to the planets and planes beyond. Beyond that all, though, I want to be the best with the blade, just as my father was with a gun. Still, the headmasters are not done. Another one steps up, introducing their deathly paleness and those behind them. Yes, Anodra speaks true. I am Plilial, headmaster of death. Today, you will all enter the Heartsword trial. If you do not have a sigil, you will gain one. If you do, it will be tested. If it does not fit you, we will remove it and provide a more suitable one. Behind me are the graduates of last year. 7 brilliant young men and women. Their class began with 500. I hope to see many of you in our halls for years to come. A third headmaster immediately follows up after Plilal, waving their arms out excitedly. Their short stature belies their race quite easily as a pygmy. Indeed. And I am Gwarin, headmaster of Cunning. And today will be the start of it all. Shortly, you will all split up for the trial. Instructions will be given then, but for now, look around. Gauge your competition. Because they are that, your competition. You can have allies, but do be wary of betrayal. My eyes flicker to the 2 beside me, and even the empty spot on my other side. The duo gives me a pair of suspicious glances, but I ignore them for now. The last headmaster, a middle-aged human man with 2 blades on his back, unveils themselves as the students in the back bow and walk off the stage. And I am Hara, the headmaster of Misery. Allow me to introduce a special someone. While he was more active in the past decade and has started to pull back from the academy, he is still our president. Students, welcome the man, the myth, the unrivaled swordsman who slew countless gods and brought the limitless itself to a draw, Lenin Hull. The heart in my chest catches its beat as my breath seizes. It's not just me either. A presence descends onto the auditorium, alienating all of us. Most introductions would have applause. There is only silence as an armless human, scarred from head to toe and dressed in loose clothing, calmly strides to the center of the stage. I recognize him from the photos Mother has at home. The group of people who defied the gods and beat the Mother below. This is the man who slayed her. Lenin Hull. He might not be a god, but there is not a god in existence who would be confident in beating him. I know just about everything about him. He's my idol. After all, he began this school shortly after the second collapse, and it was only due to his severe injuries that he did so. As the years passed, he slowly recovered, and it appears that he is not back to his peak, or close to it. After all, why else would he draw back from teaching? He's getting along in his years, sure, now in his 50s, but that means little for a master like him. In all my 18 years, I've wanted to meet him. So badly. Mother wouldn't let me, though. She said I had to wait. And I understand why. Hello. I hope one of you can kill me. That would, be fun. If you do find such a thing entertaining, well, the 6th year is where you will stop. Now, where are you, Marigold? If I found out you brought Lily, I'll send you home myself. Insane. Absolutely insane. But as the golden girl from before stands with a waving smile, I feel a sense of purpose arises within me. Perhaps purpose is the wrong word, but a challenge has been presented. And I want to surpass the hurdle. All attention falls on Marigold as her bubbliness counteracts the words shared. I didn't. I promise. Just me. I can't wait to take your trial. It sounds so fun. The monster in human skin on the stage guffaws, laughing into the ceiling as he is humored by Marigold. Then, to my surprise, he sets a challenge. Wonderful. I hope your brother doesn't believe me to go easy on you. If anyone out there can outperform Marigold Graves, I will take you personally as a student. Now, enjoy your first day. Let's begin. A boo originates from Marigold as she sticks out her tongue and pulls down her radiant eyelids, but Lennon Hull doesn't care. He chuckles once more before shaking his head and walking away. As he does so, my memory shifts into gear. Marigold. Graves. That's Uncle Wyatt's sister. I haven't ever met her as she grew up with Wyatt's mother, and he himself doesn't visit all that much. He's a busy god, after all. Though, from what I've seen so far, Marigold might actually be more obnoxious than Lily, and that is a curse worse than death. I won't worry about beating her. She's a Graves, after all. No point there. Teachers begin to point and usher the students out of their seats, so I stand, following their directions. After a few minutes of walking, I find myself standing, unfortunately, beside the very woman I wished not to see. We're in line to be sent to our solitary rooms to receive sigils. 18 years old is the requirement for most to be ready. Mother had me wait until then, too. I'm surprised, however, that Marigold did as well. Who knows, though? She is. Oh, you again. Sorry about earlier. I'm a bit clumsy, you see. Easily distracted, too. What's your name? I'm Marigold. Oh, your sword is so cool. Who made it? Overwhelmed by the questions, my hand is taken before I even offer it, being shaken and released. Blinking slowly, I answer her as best as I can. Heath. Heath Caldwell. The sword came from Earl Garner. Marigold bobs her head up and down, those golden waves moving along with her. Worse yet is the heat flooding her eyes. It's uncomfortable, but since it doesn't hurt, I don't say anything. I just listen to her rambling. Oh, awesome. If I had one, I'm sure it would be, too. My nieces and nephews' stuff surely will be. Oh, would you look at that? It's your turn. Thank Leviathan herself. A teacher motions for me to walk into a steel-reinforced room. If it were any other place at any other time, I'd be suspicious. But today? Not so much. I adhere to their instructions, escaping from Marigold and into the solitary room. Here, silence greets me with a pedestal placed in the center. Hearing some of the bits from Mother, I reach out and position my palm on it. Then, I feel ether sink into my flesh and whisk my mind into a swirling tunnel of light. Before I know any better, a smoky smell invades my nostrils, and the sound of someone wiping down a glass bottle grabs my attention. Still, even as I turn my head to the sound, I take in my surroundings, a saloon of some sort. There are a bunch of empty seats. Everything is vacant. Is that where I am? The saloon, father? Johnny Caldwell, just as I have seen him in photos and paintings, stands behind the bar, cleaning empty glasses. Before I can ask or formulate a thought in response, the figure speaks. Welcome, Heath Caldwell, to the saloon. Give me one moment to finish this. Then, we can find you a sigil. Ripe with potential, I must say. Young man, congratulations. Father praises me as he sets down the items in his hand, walking out from behind the bar. Still starstruck, I simply stand motionless. That is until he wraps an arm around me and pulls me toward the second floor. Don't be scared. This is all to begin your journey. You need a sigil, no? Come, come. Dumbly, I am led into a room on the second story where there are countless swords embedded into a stone floor. There, I feel a pull toward one in particular. Swords is how your soul envisions sigils? Not too rare, but yours are of great detail. Let's see what we've got here. The Hourite? What? That shouldn't be. Father's exclamation draws my attention as I find a book in his hands, the golden hawk-like eyes peering into it. Regardless, I don't know what to say or do. This must not be the real Johnny Caldwell. If it were, he'd recognize me, right? Yeah, yeah. My dad was dead before I was born. He saved the world. A true, a true soldier. His confusion comes out as a rambling that hardly makes any sense to me, but I listen nonetheless. More sigils popping up. Is Limitless causing this? Or is it something else? Perhaps he's too strong and bringing more that we'd never seen before. Or is he making new ones simply due to his presence? That sounds more likely. I raise a hand to ask a question, finally getting my bearings under me. This isn't my father. It won't ever be. This is a construction of some kind. But it is not him. What is an Hourite? Is it good for a swordsman? Johnny Caldwell nods meaningfully toward me before striding to the centermost blade in the room, weaving in between the others. Holding an open palm toward the blade with a spinning clock as its handle guard, he explains it to me. Yes, it would be good for just about anyone. It's very powerful. Time always is. The first sigil gives its bearer the ability to speed up time for themselves and anything they touch. Fast forward is the main skill. Beyond that, it passively increases your dexterity and strength. I would recommend taking this, Heath. It has never been seen before. Some people have different sigils appear, rare ones or common ones, but I catch Johnny's meaning as we both stare at this blade. Power comes with unexpectedness. As the first to wield a sigil like this, I'd have a massive advantage. Beyond that, the sigil itself speaks to me through the saloon. An Hourite is a child of the Sandy River. They possess golden blood and the boundless potential of time. One cannot anticipate how far they can step into the realms. However, Hourites have little defense, so they must be careful, lest they are shoveled into an early grave. A nodding head settles the deal of the saloon while offering additional boons. Exactly. And rarely does anyone gain access to more sigils along their path. Limitless can pull whatever sigil you resonate with for you, but it must exist, and you must resonate with it. Here are 2 general skills that will go well with this one. Don't want to overload you, but Adrenaline Surge and Lightfoot would make you a menace in close combat. I smile as the possibility of defeating my sister starts to emerge. This will be amazing. Extending my arm, I grasp a hand around the handle of the clockwork blade and pull it from the stone floor. The instant I do, knowledge of how to flow ether for my skill fast forward emerges, and Johnny lays a hand on my shoulder. From there, the other 2 skills and how their ether flows enter my mind. Adrenaline Surge forces the body to reach its limits. Short-term use is only recommended as any more can cause damage and severe exhaustion. Lightfoot reduces the user's weight and causes them to be swifter and harder to hit. Additional ether input can increase these effects, but only to a limit. Adrenaline Surge to enhance my overall body, from senses to speed to strength, and Lightfoot to doubly capitalize on my speed. All in all, with Fast Forward, which doubles the rate of time for me at its current strength, I've become immensely more powerful. Some part of me wonders if I could beat my sister yet, and while I could beat the old her, I'm sure she's just as affected by a sigil as me. Another aspect of me thinks of Marigold Graves. Could I surpass her? I don't know, but Johnny encourages me and tells me how to return before sending me back into the lights. You'll do great. Come back when you have time. Just meditate and seek your soul. Prayer to yourself will speed it up. Time passes when you do so. Only are the absolutions different. Go. I can't wait to see what you'll become. A moment later, I wake up in an open field on a bed of straw. Plucking out the pieces, I find myself to be the first awake among countless rows of unconscious students. That is, barring a certain someone. Marigold grins at me, waving from across the field next to a bunch of teachers. I walk over to them, careful not to step on anyone, as a tall, burly man congratulates me. Nice. Not everyone gets a sigil. Most do, but to do so quickly means you either have heaps of talent or none at all. Sit. Rest. The trial is to come. Not seeing a reason to fight back against the order, I sit on an open bench, purposefully away from Marigold. The woman doesn't even appear hurt by my actions, only more intrigued. Ignoring her, I turn to the teacher. What's the trial? The burly man with a label on his chest as Jorge nods with a smile. We change it up every year. Each class has to take 1, 2, to move on, even the 6th years. For you guys, it's a battle royale. The battleground? The academy. All the other classes are out on their trials, so you will have free reign. I raise an eyebrow, bewildered by such a turn of events. What do you mean the academy? What if we break something? We are sigiled now, aren't we? And what about deaths? Injuries? Jorge chuckles and pats me on the head before I can attempt to dodge. Rustling my hair, he forces me to grit my teeth in annoyance. Don't worry about that. You couldn't break something if you wanted to. Plus, we've got countermeasures for injuries. Sure, deaths do happen, but they aren't that common for first years. It is the second and thirds that die the most. Fourths know their limits, and so do fifths. The 6th years, however, are strong enough that they aren't so easy to kill. Shrugging, I just accept what is about to happen and close my eyes, wanting to train with the ether now originating from the forefront of my brain. It's better to be prepared physically than mentally. One can always settle one's mind in a fight. After all, they are the best places to focus. And I do so, receiving some more praise for it. Good. Train. Familiarize yourself with ether. Some of these students were sigiled before entering. Some are born monsters. Those like us need every second to catch up. Streams of ether flow from my brain and activate each of my 3 skills, one after another. Quickly, I grow lost in the rhythm. The rivers and coursing creeks that evolve my body momentarily are everything Mother and Uncle Wyatt said they'd be. Time ceases meaning, even with fast-forward increasing my perceptions and actions. There are no other descriptions other than I find myself in a new world, and I love every aspect of it. Suddenly, a hand bonks me on the back of my head. Shaking the dizziness away, I find that same teacher staring down at me. Wake up, kid. I let you practice past the introductions. The trial starts in 5. I nod to the man in thanks, and I see that the entire field has already been cleared out. There are lingering students, but they are obviously those who are preparing for battle, either with ambushes or some other sort of attack. As such, I head in the other direction, following the path back to the main building of the academy. Sprinting, I hurry as fast as I can. I even reach for fast forward before I feel a burst of ether saturation burn into me. Shit, I practiced too much. Whatever. It'll have to do. Forcing the ether anyway, the world around me slows, and I speed up. Swiftly, I pass by others who are heading back, too, and I step inside the academy a little while later. Still, there are students everywhere. I don't want to fight someone instantly. That will only wear me out. So, I run further, dashing up the opulent wooden stairs and into the second-floor halls. This place is almost endless. Dozens of rooms exist on just this floor, and there have to be a dozen more stories. I continue my search for momentary safety, moving from floor to floor as I feel the clocks around me tick. Just as a grand hum fills the academy and enters my ears, those of the bell tower, I step out and onto the roof of the academy. The footing here is suboptimal, but that means no one else will come here. I should be utterly. Heath, let's fight. A golden-haired girl stands with her hands on her hips and no weapon to be seen. Her eyes are just as radiant as before, and I slide backward across the shingles, laying a hand on them for stability. Nevertheless, Marigold seems to have no issue with her balance. Do we have to? I try what I can to erode her desire, but I only manage to make things worse. She shouts louder, almost tearing my ears off. Of course, it's the trial. We're supposed to fight, so we will. What's your sigil? Mine's Wayfarer. I shake my head, not wanting to answer her, but sudden danger forces my hand to draw my blade. Suddenly, out of nowhere, Marigold clashes her claymore of solid flame against my sword. I struggle to match her strength, and then she retreats just as impishly, with a smile on her lips. Not bad. Now attack me. Marigold's claymore vanishes, the flames receding to her pupils. Instantly, I know that has nothing to do with her sigil. Somehow, she can control fire? With her eyes? It's weird, but Mother knows a Rougarou that can write. So, I am quick to adapt, rushing fast forward into action. Time slows again before I dash across the shingles, the sound echoing across the morning sunlight sky. Marigold's fire re-emerges in time to meet my blade as her speed also doubles. How can she match me? Without. Again, she evaporates and heat rushes at the back of my neck, twisting and pivoting so the handle of my claymore covers my spine. I catch her flame. Agony races across my flesh as the heat burns me, but I slide down the shingles to escape her momentarily. As I do so, I know I need more to match her. She's stronger, faster, and has far more abilities than me. Her swordsmanship isn't bad, either. Damn graves. Ejecting my legs beneath me, I leap to a nearby tower. My ether rushes like coursing thunder, and I force a second skill into being. Adrenaline surge provides the strength needed to crash land on the other rooftop. Rolling across it, I steady my breathing as my brain spikes in pain. I'm using too much ether. At this rate, I toss myself over due to a flaming blade splitting the rooftop beside me. It even damages the roof, firing shingles off every which way. What is she? A monster? Huffing against the incredible strain on my body, I read my blade against her, and her smile eludes my understanding. Big Brother did say there would be some exciting folk to join me. After I beat you up, I'll go see the weird shark guy and the girl with 4 arms. Again, she blitzes me, and I barely manage to put the tempered steel of Earl Garner's creation between. Still, I'm sent tumbling across the rooftop. In order not to fall off, I steady myself with my claymore, stabbing it into the floor. Fuck. 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 I can't lose like this. I look up at the woman as she struts toward me in total glee. How is she a first sigilled? This is insane. How am I supposed to match her? Desperation claws at my chest as Marigold approaches, her fiery blade casting dancing shadows across the rooftop. I struggle to my feet, muscles screaming in protest. My grip on the claymore white-knuckled and slick with sweat. It's been, what? 1 minute? This is pathetic. Come on, don't tell me you're done already. The she-demon taunts, her eyes glowing like embers. I was just starting to have fun. Are you not that special? I grit my teeth, mind racing. There has to be a way to turn this around. Or is there? Am I just done for? Will I be expelled if I lose this? Even with my free pass? Probably. Lennon Hull gives no quarter or second chances. Again, the woman rushes for me only a half second after waiting. Her footsteps seem as light as a feather while her whole being vibrates with strength. She's utterly terrifying. I can't lose. Not here. Not ever. I promised Summer I'd only let her kick my ass. It was a stupid thing, sure, but I can't break it. We have our arguments and our fights, but we're still a team. If I break my promise to her, then I can't trust any other promises I've given. Time slows to a crawl as I feel my heart beat in unison with some distant threat of significance. My vision overlays with that of a sword placed into concrete, the clockwork nature of it thrumming with power. The sword shifts in place again, and Johnny Caldwell, not my father, but the spirit, speaks to me. No, the saloon speaks to me in this distorted time. Congratulations, Heath Caldwell. I am impressed. 1 hour to achieve absolution. That is a record for the universe. The previous was 7 days. You are a man of infinite potential, and I hope you live up to it. The dialed hour right. For 1 second at a time, you may make the world stand still. The resolve you hold can halt even gods, though it would end your current life to do so. I must warn you, do not force your will upon the world more than once per day. As you push, so does reality. We do not want to see you erased from the sandy river, do we? Additionally, this burgeoning power may only be used in your nearby surroundings, a few feet at most. To extend it any further would do the same as using it many times. Nevertheless, you have shown the realms your will. It cannot be stopped before it has begun. The sands have already started to fall for a new era. I hope to see you again soon. Have fun with your new skill, Halted Sands. The words end as time does more than slow. It utterly halts in my nearby vicinity, and that includes Marigold. Without waiting to see if those words spoke true, I rush forward and stab the frozen Marigold through the chest before kicking her off my blade. The instant she exits the thin range of my absolution, her eyes widen in shock. Marigold plummets toward the stairs of the entrance to the academy. Despite her situation, I don't see any fear or sadness. Only excitement. Nevertheless, she simply spreads her arms out before a scarred man catches her with phantasmal arms, the air detonating from his sheer speed. Winds rush at me from the rooftop of the academy as eyes rush up to meet me. Hull's stare becomes more than a gaze. It physicalizes into an aura of ether that possesses physical form. He becomes a massive humanoid figure, holding a long blade in his hands. Space fractures and ripples before the danger suddenly dissolves. With a snort of his nose, Lennon smacks Marigold on the head. I don't hear what he had to say from here, but I'm already crawling back from the edge of the rooftop. The battle was short, but I can't do another. I'm already exhausted. Simply thinking about ether makes my mind howl in pain. The saloon was right. Halted Sands is incredible, but also dangerous. If I held it another split second, I think I'd be dead. Gusts of air fill my lungs one after another while I rest, praying to Leviathan that I'll have time. But before I even know better, the back of a man faces me from the edge of the rooftop. Hull, his gray hair and full beard stand before the sun as if he could slice it in twain. I said such a thing in jest, but you are unique. Marigold has 1,000 advantages over you. Sure, she was playing around, but still, even if she were serious, you'd have one that. Welcome to Heartsword. We're happy to have you. Just be on the lookout. A lot of people are going to want your head. Managing to get my breathing under control, I can't help but be confused. Raising an eyebrow, I ask the swordsman who turned gods into legends a question. What do you mean? Why will people want my head? Hull laughs, shifting his head to face me with one eye, the rising sun obscuring it from my sight. All I can see is the silhouette of his face. The world isn't as peaceful as it may seem. Limitless presence has caused a surge in the whole universe. A new era is coming. That is why this academy exists. Well, also to ground me. As for you, though, I haven't had a student before. That means my enemies are now yours. Finally, the godless god pivots all the way to me, displaying an unnerving grin. Despite it all, my heart accelerates, the notion of matching Hull in some way too exciting to ignore. I return his smile and deliver a promise of my own, one that I will fulfill. I'll kill you. The joy that floods from Lennon's face is indescribable. The man wishes for nothing but a battle to bring him to his limits. He wants someone who can beat him. He wants someone who can render him powerless. Why? So that he can claim all that power and more. I see him for who he is at this moment. He's a teacher now, yes, but only in passing. In essence, he is a warrior searching for not death, but the sensation of it. He has been training all of us to strengthen the world, but also to find the person who can give him what he seeks. And I'll be the one to deliver it. Why? Because it's something that has never been done before, and that's enough for me. With that promise in my mind, I reach a palm up and take Lennon's phantasmal offer as he lifts me to my shaky feet. Then, he pushes me off the roof with a laugh. Splaying out my hands, I seek any sort of salvation, only to find none as he sent me a dozen feet outward. Wind spreads my hair, and the lack of gravity causes my heart to sink into my chest. I'll catch you, but I promise to keep Marigold safe while Wyatt and Aniwai are off-world. Just gotta teach you lesson number 1. Never piss off a godslayer. Side story 2. Aging blades aren't dull. A slim candle loses its glare before my eyes, lingering with only smoke and the smell of flowers. My eyes trail to the letter beneath it, snorting at the gift sent to me. It's written in fancy writing with eloquent grammar, something only one woman would do. Happy 41st, Lennon. We'd come to see you and celebrate, but you'd kick us out. So, I sent you a letter. I know you probably won't even read this, but I hope you're doing okay. The Heartsword is growing unbelievably, but it's not you. I don't think you'd crumble under the weight of a school. Still, it's not all that's wrong. It's okay if you can't swing a sword. We're your friends. And if I'm not, why it is. You can come to us. It's okay. I know you, Lennon. I know you very well. I know you would never take the coward's way, which is why I must tell you this. Happy birthday. Wyatt is working on something to help you. I know he's failed in the past, but you gotta believe in someone other than yourself, okay? Oh, And please don't kill anyone today. With great love, Elizabeth Graves. I crumple up the paper and toss it aside, annoyed by what I have to read. Those damn two always prying where no one wants them to. Can't I just live my life? Things aren't what it used to be. It's been years. Years since we last fought together. Since we bled together. Times have changed. Though, Wyatt doesn't think like that. I know he doesn't. Exhaling with a spike of pain from my chest, moving too quickly in anger a moment ago, I reach for the cane residing beside my desk. Then, I take it and hobble to my feet. Fucking. A slight curse comes from my lips while I stagger over to the door. A moment later, I stride down the hallway of my academy, the place built gloriously in tandem with multiple governments. Every new nation after the second collapse wanted a piece of the pie that was Heartsword. Well, the piece of the pie that was keeping me settled down. Gods can be tracked quite easily if one follows their connections, but me, like the Wraith, I cannot be tracked, yet unlike the Wraith, I cannot be tamed. The point of pride burgeons into an array of emotions as I stand on a fifth-story patio to find the students training at their morning spars. I set this school up to allow for any to join should they prove themselves. Talentless? Bah, heart is what matters. It is all that matters. Every man or woman I graduate from here will be an angel. That is what I decided when building it from the ground up. Those are my true students, for they are those that carry my heart. I can see a few of those candidates on the grounds right now. Of the several hundred, spread out amongst their years, my eyes lock onto a specific individual, a demon by the name of Tyrannus. He's lithe, hardly over 5 feet tall, with a spindly tail at his rear and leathery skin. Reminds me of tan leather, to be honest. But his heart? The tremors in my hands steady ever so slightly as I witness him fight his opponent. Tyrannus, the first year against Leanne, is a third year. The woman, faster and stronger than her match, is talented in the blade, too. But she doesn't have the heart. Tyrannus is outsped, but he performs one of my favorite moves, blocking with the edge of his hilt. It's prohibitively dangerous, something I only teach the higher years. Yet the little demon learned it on his own. Twisting his body, he diverts the swing while going in low and twirling his claymore straight for Leanne's throat. And as I taught them, they always go for the kill, stopping only at the last moment. Steel nicks crimson from the human as she gasps in a retreat, sweeping her blade outward. Her eyes are both incredulous and embarrassed, but she is not done quite yet. Don't feel bad, Leanne. Tyrannus ain't normal. Go all out, and you might get him. A second year, Jonah, who had his ass kicked previously by Tyrannus, is the catalyst that provokes Leanne's ether to rumble dangerously. It's pitiful compared to what I could combat at my peak, but it's impressive for her age and sigil. With a shared nod and a devious smile from the demon, the two begin anew. I smile, sensing them dash at each other with blistering quickness, but then that sensation within my mind rings with alarm. It is the perception that I've always found to be infallible. If it could sense the phantom pain at his best, my eyes scan the horizon, every inch of my academy, frantic for the sign of danger. Yet, I do not see anything. Not a lick of what my periphery believes to be out there. The insides of my stomach rumble, for the times have changed. I'm not as strong as I once was. The injuries I was given against Yuzin and Vincent aren't something that could be walked off. I'll live with them for the rest of my days, however short they may be. But who could this be? What could it be? The seas are stable, for now, with autumn sailing them. Most of the new nations are without turmoil. All the strong are accounted for except for the missing. 8 powerful individuals vanished. Vincent's grandson is the only one I can remember by name to be among the missing, a vanished 8th sigil. But why would he come here? After me? This doesn't make sense. A voice enters the sky, however, and quickly fills me in on the cruel joke. Lennon? Lennon Hull? I've come for our second round. The sound is familiar, from a Nahullo that I had once fought. He was good. Really good. A young 7th sigiled when we had our first bout. He even participated in the second collapse, surviving through the chaos. As his figure appears on the training grounds, several teachers I have on payroll emerge, but I can instantly tell they are not his match. Most of my teachers are 5th and 6th sigils. A few are angels. Even still, I dropped down from the height of my patio, falling to the ground heavily, and forcibly suppressed the pain of doing so. Wobbly ever so slightly as I fail partially, I wave away the teachers and calm the students. It is fine. Stand back. This will be a learning experience, to say the least. In the corner of my eyes, I watch Tyrannus' eyes light up into a roaring flame. It gives me the tiniest bit of strength, and I stride up to this Nahullo, Karn, the devouring spear. The only mortal to ever match me in skill. Yes, I did surpass him, but, for a moment, we were rivals. And few can say that. Fewer still are living. Yet, to my words, Karn's face droops in disappointment. He sees something weak about me. You've fallen this far? Already? I was told you'd hang on to your strength for another decade. But, already? With each word, my heart sinks deeper and deeper. But that second, already, riles up the monster within. I take a step forward and quickly stumble, but the movement is too much. Still, the ether within begins to move. It is slow. It is stagnant, for my soul is irreparably damaged, but it flows nonetheless. Nonetheless, I can sense that I may not be enough to fight this Karn. Perhaps the old him I could end. Maybe even the one that participated in the final battle. But this Karn? Something is wrong. He's not normal. His ether, it roils with something foul. It's more than ether. The way it flows before pausing, the way that it smells like putrid meat. Wait, is that even ether? I don't know what I'm looking at anymore. What have you done, Karn? What being did you find? A cackling laughter answers me as he reels back, his lengthy spine bending atypically. Then, twisting back with an eerie speed. His jaws extend more than should be possible. I found power. Isn't that what you found years ago? This universe, Lenin, it is endless, limitless. We must only take it. The way his words creep out brings a shiver to my bones, and I can hear those behind me retreat in fear. Karn wasn't ever the most sane individual, though neither was I. We both craved battle, and it seems that Karn and the other 7 missing must have found something in the cosmos. Wyatt ventured out with Virgil and discovered vast reaches of space, unknown gods, and impossible places. They must have walked on the same path, but only the 8 weren't strong enough to stay themselves. I lower my head as Karn walks closer to me, his steps jittery and his voice excited despite his despair. His eyes breathe past me and see those behind my back. If you're here, though, one of these must be good, huh? Any of them like you? The threat is veiled behind maddening laughter, but I can recognize his meaning. He wants a good fight, and he'll do anything to get it, even slaughtering the teens and young adults behind me. Shaking my head, I respond honestly. They're good, but you're here for me. Draw your spear. Enodra calls out from behind me, one of the earliest signees for my academy. She is concerned about my condition, knowing just how bad it is. Lenin, what are you doing? Stop. Let me handle this. I shift slightly, coughing as I do so to glare at her. She freezes the instant my eyes hit her figure like a cat caught in the night. Then, I turn back to Karn. I am fine. Let's let the students see what true power looks like. It should help their advancements. The first years had only been in the academy for 2 months at this point, so they had seen little of the power possible by a living creature. Still, apparently, my confidence is not enough. Lenin, you can't do this. You'll. Enough. I will fight. This will be the most fun I've had in years. My voice cracks at the end of the sentence, but I won't let them see the doubt swelling inside me. There's no room for it. Not now. Karn's lips twist into something that could almost be a grin, though it's more like the snarl of a beast who's been caged too long. The foul smell reeks off him as it warps his body bizarrely, shifting with a serpent's grace. His steps slow as he closes the gap between us, and I can feel my old instinct stirring, shaking the rust-off bones that shouldn't be moving like this anymore. It's only been a half-decade or so, but to me, it's been. Scars age people worse than the Sandy River ever could. You think you've still got it, Hull? Karn hisses as his words are laced with bitter amusement. Let's see it then. Let's see what's left of the great Lenin Hull, the Godslayer. A part of me hates him for those words. Another part, The part that survived on the edge of a blade for longer than most men live thrives on them. It is the challenge that provokes my blood. It is placing me on the same pedestal as Wyatt. Only he and I possess that title. Others have killed gods, yes, Bonfire, Abraham, and Virgil, to name a few, but they are not godslayers. It is an honor only we bear. The students stand silent, their breaths held, waiting. Some are too new to understand what they're witnessing, but my angels, the ones who've seen the collapse, know. They know that this is more than a spar. It's a lecture, one that will be written in blood and sweat. Mine, most likely. Karn's spear gleams in the morning light, its edges coated in something brown and distorted. I don't recognize the substance that mimics ether in some way, but I don't have to. I know enough to understand that it's dangerous, maybe even lethal. He twirls the spear once, and it hums through the air to leave behind trailing rust. For a second, just a second, my prosthetic hand trembles as I reach for my blade. The handle is familiar, too familiar. I've seized it a billion times and felt the way it responds to my touch like an extension of my own body. And yet, today, it feels heavy, too heavy. These years have taken more from me than I'd care to admit. I can walk through these halls all I want. I can teach and demonstrate all I want. But, one day, I won't do it anymore, just as one day, I won't swing my sword anymore. I face downward toward diameter. I've lost my momentum, literally and physically, but I still have her. My perfection. The weight of the sword gradually settles in my palm, and a strange sense of calm washes over me. She tells me that this is a fight we must take. I turn my head slightly, just enough to catch the wide-eyed gaze of Tyrannus. His ghoulish, sunken eyes are fixed on me, burning with that familiar hunger, the same craving I once had. He wants to see if I can still do it, and if I can still stand up to a force like Karn. Observe. I murmur to myself, not loud enough for him to hear, but enough for the words to hold me accountable. The words exist only for me. And then I move, tossing aside the cane to fall against the sands below. The first clash is akin to being thrown against a wall of flame. Karn's spear whips toward me with a speed that shouldn't be possible, not even for an 8th sigilled. But I meet it. My sword deflects the blow inches far enough for me to sidestep the brunt of it. Pain flares in my side as the spear grazes me, but I grit my teeth. Not yet. The ground under my feet feels as though it's shifting, but I know it's merely my body. It struggles to remember the way it used to move, the way I used to breathe, the way I used to fight. I force it to listen, to obey, even if it costs me every ounce of strength I have left. Karn's eyes widen slightly as I come in close, too close for him to use the full reach of his spear. A spark of something reignites in his gaze. Respect? Maybe. Maybe not. You're slower. A snarl weaves between our movements, his breath hot and sour as I dodge another thrust. Barely. Maybe. I grunt, locking my sword with the shaft of his spear and twisting my body to shove him back. He stumbles back only a few feet, my physical strength not the peak of the world that it once was. Once upon a time, not even Wyatt could match my blade with his fists. Now, that is gone. Yet, I'm still better. Karn's laughter is manic now, as if he can't believe the words I've said. But there's a flicker of hesitation in his next attack. It is the slightest morsel I need to pounce on. I twist and contort his spear away from my neck, then counter. My claymore cuts through the air, a simple, clean stroke aimed at his throat. Yet, it doesn't matter, for Karn suddenly grows another pair of arms and a secondary spear. Faster than he was before, he blocks diameter. Despite my surprise, I push onward, flinching as I instinctively reach for my dominion, but it fails me. The wounded soul brings about godly pain to my chest. He swerves around ya, the blade missing by inches, and then he's on me, his spear driving toward my chest. I retreat through the agony, the pain focusing my mind, but not quickly enough. The point of the spear slams into my shoulder, and the force of it sends me stumbling back, gasping as crimson blossoms from the wound. I hear gasps behind me, but I can't afford to acknowledge them. Not now. I bet they only saw me retreat, too. Regardless of my wounds, I still move faster than most of them can see. Glancing down, I find blood dripping down my shoulder and onto the prosthetic, staining the ground beneath me. Karn nearly amputated the limb, but I didn't drop my sword. I won't. That all, Hull? Karn sneers, circling me like a wolf. He must be enjoying this, even through whatever has taken him hostage. I thought you'd at last provide a challenge. I respire through the pain, forcing myself upright. My ether surges, sluggish but steady, a river uncovering its path again. Karn's laughter falters for a moment as he feels the subtle shift in the air around us. No, I whisper to myself, steadying my grip on the hilt of my sword. This is my home. I haven't had one since Edmund gave me that room in his cabin. I am these kids, Edmund. And that damned old man never lost in front of me. I once saw him kill a 5th sigilled demon after slaying its child. Who does Karn think he is to stop me? To kill me? In front of my students? You misunderstand something, Karn. I am not the challenger. You are. For the first time, Karn looks uncertain. I won't win this fight. I know that. Edmund knew that, too, when he stood up for Wyatt. When he stood up for me back then. But that's not the point. It's never been the point. It must beat it into their heads, my students, that even when your body is broken, even when your strength is fading, you don't stop fighting. Because fighting is all we have. And there is always a chance, no matter how slim, that you turn it around. Karn lunges again, dual spears flashing in the shadowed light as he reaches impossible speeds. Despite his swiftness that leaves trenches in the reinforced ground, I raise Dya to meet it. This isn't about survival. This is about one last battle. And I'll make damn sure it's one to remember. The spears strike like lightning, but I meet them with all the ether I have left to shift and all the power left in my muscles. The clash rings out louder than it should after several seconds of constant back and forth, and its force drives me to my knees. The sand beneath me shifts, betraying my weakening stance. My prosthetic arm groans under the strain. Earl's creation is incredible, able to match the strength of a demigod, but it isn't enough. The gears inside howl louder than our contest as I deflect Karn's relentless assault. Each hit sends a jolt of agony through my chest, where my soul is shattered and my body, scarred beyond repair, threatens to give out entirely. Most angels, demigods, and even gods have spent most of their lives strong. Or, at the very least, they spent very little of it weak. It is the weak who are constantly fighting, proving themselves. I may not have Vincent's resume, but I'd be willing to bet I'm not far off from his number of scars. I don't have an endless to protect me, after all. I just have my sword, and it's not enough. Blood drips freely from my shoulder now, pooling at my knees and soaking into the sand. The crimson mud loosens my footing, adding insult to injury. I'm slipping. I can feel the weight of my injuries pulling me down, the darkness at the edges of my vision creeping closer. This might be it. Karn rushes at me again, and I split to the side, defending myself with Dya, only for a startling crack to ring out. A sword falls to the ground, still held in a metallic hand, and my eyes meet Karn's. He is so much stronger than the last time we met. A proper demigod. But I don't have that anymore. I glance back at the students, their faces frozen in shock with rising terror. They want to help, to prove themselves just as I would have. I can see it in their gazes, especially Tyrannus, who trembles with barely contained fury. But they can't. They're not ready for this. They're not ready to face a monster like Karn. No. Stay back. This is my fight. I rasp with spittles of blood, my voice barely more than a whisper, but it stops them in their tracks. They would only die. Maybe Anodra could do something, but the rest would die in less than a second. If the grounds weren't so reinforced, craters would be all that remained beneath our feet. I don't have strong enough teachers. I need some. Fuck. My back bends forward as I struggle to stand, the legs beneath my feet shifting ominously. Karn circles me with the gaze of a vulture. You're done, Hull. Karn chuckles, his voice filled with glee as he finally grasps his victory. Look at you. You can barely stand. He's right. I can't. My vision blurs, and my grip on my sword is non-existent. I have no arms left. Perhaps I should have taken that second one. Maybe I should have bent my pride. I can't do this. I'm not the warrior I used to be. My body is broken. my soul wounded beyond repair. Every battle, every scar, has brought me to this point. But then, somewhere in the haze of pain and exhaustion, I feel it. A pulse. It's faint, almost imperceptible, but it's there. The ether around me stirs, sluggish at first but then stronger, a distant drumbeat growing louder with every passing second within the depths of my skull. The roaring of a steam train emerges upon the brink. I blink, forcing my eyes to focus, and then the world around me sharpens, and for the briefest moment, I feel something. No, someone. Wyatt. He'd ventured out into the unknown, beyond the boundaries of what we thought possible. And now, somehow, that door, the one he opened, is calling to me. Before, the limitless could not reach me, for I had delved down another path. But perhaps I just didn't try hard enough. Of course, that's the case. When has anything ever been easy for me? Recuperation? How could that end with simple old time? No. Blood must be shed. Death must be called. The ether inside me, broken and sluggish, begins to stir, moving faster now, faster than it has in years, oiled by the sanguine sacrifice. I feel it, not just in my body but in my very soul. The scars that once chained me, the wounds that held me back, they loosen, if only for a moment. I can breathe again. I can move again. I can fight. Wyatt. It's a damn good birthday present. Karn's eyes narrow to a slit. What are you doing? Without arms, a blade is formed, and my wounded soul stretches to its peak for a split second. Struck by my own dominion, skies blur with the resounding screech, and my feet slide against the sands behind Karn. Immediately, I swing the phantasmal dia of my dominion, slicing for his throat without quarter. His ether, whatever foul thing he's drawn on, begins to waver, its hold on him flickering like a dying flame. And I see it. The opening. Karn swings wildly, his spears flashing in a wide arc to block the first swing. But it doesn't matter. I have many more. Dia hums in my hands as I drive her and a dozen other slashes straight through Karn's chest. The world stills. Karn gasps, his eyes wide with disbelief as he stares down at the blade buried in his heart. His hands tremble as he tries to grip my sword, but he can't. Only I can wield my Heartsword. His ether, that twisted, foul energy, dissipates into the air, leaving nothing but the sound of his ragged breathing. The sudden evaporation of his strength is suspicious, but I don't have the capacity to worry about it right now. Panting, I shuffle my feet inch by inch, blood still dripping from my wounds. But I'm alive. I'm still alive. Karn stumbles back, his body convulsing as he falls to his knees, his spears clattering beside him as that foul energy evaporates. I watch it catapult away, unable to halt it. The Nahalo's eyes, once filled with maddened excitement, are now empty, lifeless. Still, a stray thought wonders about the bizarre energy. Whatever, I'll just let Wyatt know. It's his job now. With that, I rear back, letting my bloodshot eyes reach up into the sky. Behind me, I hear the students stir, their voices hushed and reverent. They all came here for my name, after all, to learn from me. Watching me fight someone with a demigod's strength while protected by me, it is not something they'll ever forget. Neither will I, because for the first time in years, I feel something I thought I'd lost. Hope. This doesn't have to be the end. Maybe, just maybe, I can fight again. I am aging, but that does not mean I have to be dull. Until that very last day, when my soul finally gives out, I will continue to sharpen myself. It is then that I will prove to the world precisely who I am. Broken? Yes. Shattered? Yes. Scarred? Yes. Armless? Yes. Momentumless? Not anymore. I found it again. Now, remember this, students. This is Linen Hull strength. He has grown old. But I cut off Anodra as I clench my fist, the one formed within my dominion. It is painful to use, but it is that difficulty that adds sharpness. No, I am just getting started. What you saw is the minimum for a demigod. To graduate, you will have to be able to match just one of those swings. If you wish to go further, I will be waiting. As many challengers that come, I will accept them all. Without listening to my first headmaster's words, I walk away, each step filled with dripping blood. No one follows me, not a single soul. So, I continue to take steps, one after another, until I stand at the edge of a cliff. Heartsword is built atop a mountain, meaning the new ocean reaches its ends. Staring down, I see the waters crashing against the rocks below. Perpetual. They will never stop. Am I talking about the beings within the cosmos? Or myself? Or the waters? I don't know. Crouching down, I sit at the rocks, only to hear another scrape beside me. With a glance, I find a young demon as my companion. Tyrannus. Those sunken eyes stare into me with desire. Not the mortal desires that many fall for. No, it is the desire of the warrior. He enjoys the rush of battle just as I. You are incredible, Mr. Hull. Will you teach me? Personally? The hope and pride within his eyes are genuine. The dual emotions could be rival to that of a rising tide, the kind that would give birth to an angel. But it's not enough. No, Tyrannus. I can only teach someone who wishes to kill me, because otherwise you do not have enough drive. Tyrannus' bewilderment is clear to see, and he tosses up his hands before realizing his error and bowing his head. Please, you won't regret it. I learn fast, and I'm strong. You saw me beat Leanne, right? Who else can beat a third sigil as a first? I nod, admitting his talent. He is good, very good, but it's the heart. I can only take someone personally who I believe will surpass me. Otherwise, they will only ever feel worthless. Plus, with my momentum reignited, I wish to join the rush into the sea of stars. And I don't want to do that to this young man. I am sorry. You can come back when you are stronger, when you have lived through more. If you still have the same desire at your 7th, then I will take you. Tyrannus' eyes sink to the depths below, heartbroken and shattered inside. Seeing his despair, I sigh and wrap an arm around his shoulder. The pain of doing so is ignored for the young demon. It is okay. I will still train you as I do all the rest. I will simply not take you with me. You are talented and driven. At Heartsword, I believe you are the best that has arrived thus far. Fly high. Be the gold standard. You are Heartsword's future. My words raised Tyrannus' head, and I noticed the slight grin on his face. Nodding, I turned back to face the ocean. He might not be my direct student, but he is still one of Heartsword's. That means such a slight thing wouldn't shatter his heart. And if it did, it'd only reforge itself stronger. Because it's not about how strong they are. It's about when they are beaten into the dirt that they'll spit blood in their enemies' eyes and plan on dying together. That's the meaning of Heartsword. We live, breathe, and die fighting. For what? Glory? Honor? Fun? Family? Ambition? Self? Does it really matter? No. No, it does not. And it is that thought which brings a smile to my face. I've finally found myself a home. Even if I do venture out into those stars, I'll have someplace to return to. It's a weird feeling, but not one that I dislike. I am almost looking forward to coming back after a break to see how far all the students have come. I guess I'll just have to find Wyatt and teach him a lesson, too. I do wonder, could I beat him? Those 3? Maybe. But I won't know until I try. Side Story 3, A Rocket's Wish. Earl Divine Coltsmith Garner. The cool steel of the skybound chariot rests pleasingly in my palm. I have to crane my neck back to view the top of its metallic frame, but that fills me with pride more than anything else. I've made plenty of guns, swords, and all other manners of weapons in the past several years. More than that, too, from tools unsigiled can use all the way to protective barriers so that the powerful can protect their children from afar. But this, it's my baby, in the same way that Wyatt's father made the blooming spider lily. This is the first creation into which I've sunk my very soul. Nonetheless, someone disrupts my moment alone. Not that I'm all that annoyed by her anymore. Earl, leave your ship alone. We have guests. Primrose's call from across our estate, the sound reverberating from her ether, sets my feet into motion. I step away from the cylindrical beast of metal positioned vertically into the ground. Sliding a gear over on the surface, I listen to the hatch close automatically while I walk across our open land. Buildings with a variety of purposes litter my surroundings, the alchemy den to my right, the colt smither to my left, but I ignore it all, instead heading toward the semi-distant house we share. As my feet carry me across, I stretch slightly, feeling the slim suit beneath my clothes vibrating with energy. My eyes also drift to the sky above, the midday sun beaming down onto the surrounding farmland turned into my home. It's been 5 years since the war ended. How crazy is it that time flies so quickly? 5 years. I think about it almost every day. No, that's not an accurate approximation. I relive it every day, nearly every hour. I obsess over it too much. Not in a traumatic way, or maybe it is. I'm not all too sure if I'm being honest. Instead of focusing on death, much of which I learned to live with before the war, I concentrate my efforts on what can be done. The universe is vast. It's so incredibly expansive. We weren't sure just how mind-boggling and gigantic it was until Wyatt and Virgil did their first expedition, bringing Silas and Abraham with them for support. The latter can transport beings up to a few light years, but his limit does exist, while Silas can forcibly elevate that even further. Adding Wyatt to it, Abraham has teleported all 4 of them over 100 light years at once. Now, to the old me, that was an incomprehensible distance, just absolutely insane to even imagine. But, for my measurements, the universe is at least 1,000,000 times that size. Now, the edges are unlikely to hold any kind of life, and even then, I wonder what the edges actually entail, but that's not the worry at the moment. We should only concern ourselves with realistic threats, and if Wyatt, Virgil, and Leviathan can travel light years at a time through space using their divinities, then other gods, or near gods, should be able to do the same. How many are out there? These outer gods? Wyatt has only met a handful in his travels, but he hasn't gone all that far in actuality. There could be millions of these beings. That's on the high end, of course. A more reasonable estimate is the high tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands. The further one is from the center of the universe, the less time they have had to exist, whether it's the planet or the ether around it. As such, the further one is from the center, the less likely there is to be a god of any kind. The good news is our home is relatively close to the center of the universe, between 10,000 and 9,000 light-years away. The mother below originated from that direction, entailing what is possibly awaiting us there. Hopefully, the Starseeker will allow us to travel more efficiently by breaking down space and puncturing us straight to our location. Beyond that, we must simply wait for more gods to be born, or for those who can combat such creatures. Wyatt, Leviathan, and Virgil are our strongest at the moment. Bonfire and Abraham are up there, for sure, especially since the dunce has ascended, but Bonfire is Bonfire. We cannot trust him on some unknown realm, plane, or planet beyond our knowledge. It is what it is. More need to rise before we can send out expeditions without opening up our planet to cataclysm. Is such a thing likely? Probably not. Are any of us willing to risk it? Hell no. We all quite like our new lives and would like them to remain how they are. Fortunately, Lennon Hull was unable to manage his recovery. If he had, the damned swordsman would already be rushing towards the unknown hidden in the universe, with that school right at his back. This means we have even more reason for some form of reconnaissance that doesn't require our literal gods to be running around the stars. I need to get the Starseeker running soon. And that's not just because I can't wait to see it online. Earl, stop zoning out. A firm hand yanks my ear over as I exit my thoughts just before our back door, utterly working on autopilot. I smile, embarrassed, as I greet our 2 guests, Bertie and Silas. The 2 stand beside each other near our porch chairs, with the former holding her hands to her hips, much like my wife, while the latter scratches his chin lazily. Hey, sorry. I was just thinking about the Starseeker. Hey, speaking of, Silas, would you mind sparing your help for a bit with it? The undead man shrugs in agreement. His magenta eye radiates intrigue at the same time, with Mia entering my mind. I was waiting for you to ask. I've been studying interdimensional travel like crazy, so that I can figure out how to do it. Pairing moves like Virgil's with the glove, and Silas wishes would be unstoppable. How much progress have you made? I grin, waving behind me toward the hidden compartment in the distance. Yeah, I think I'm pretty close. A wish or two, low power, of course, could set me in the right direction. Then, we'd be jumping through the cosmos in no time. Primrose gives me a glare before sighing. Stepping around me, she grabs Birdie by the arm and yanks her away. The undead woman doesn't resist her in the slightest. Obviously, something is already planned. Well, that sounds wonderful then. Birdie and I will go see this new play while you three have fun. It's called Of Blood and War. Apparently, the actors can even use ether to make it look realistic. Not wanting to curb her enthusiasm, I wave Primrose away while she and Birdie round the house's edge. That quickly leaves Silas with me and Mia within his eye socket. Yes, I needed a break from her. Too nice. I don't know how you like her so much, Silas. It's like chewing on sugary sugar. I scratch my eyebrow while stepping back toward the Starseeker, already excited. Still, Mia's words are odd as usual, seeing as she doesn't possess her own body like Lily. How do you know what that's like? And that's kinda rude. Silas again shrugs, finally showing some modicum of emotion as we gradually approach the Starseeker. Mia just likes to complain. She loves Birdie. More than she likes me, that's for sure. Show me what this is all about. The less I have to go off-world, the more time I can spend with Birdie. I nod, patting Silas on the back with a smile before bending down to the hatch and reopening it with a swift pull. A mere moment later, the Starseeker remains below us in all its glory. Mia, through Silas, a medium, spares me a glance, and we laugh before climbing down onto the ship's ladder. Its cold, narrow confines already familiar, but always somewhat claustrophobic. I open the secondary hatch into the Starseeker, with Silas right behind me. The sound of the door closing behind us echoes through the hollow metal walls, sealing us inside the cramped space. It isn't usually this bad when alone, but with a second person, it's quite a bit worse. I'll have to streamline this somehow later to fit more. Silas, as usual, doesn't say much, his undead eyes glowing faintly in the dim light to provide light before I hit the switch on the console, igniting the systems ablaze. Mia, though, hums in the back of my mind while the lights reveal the whole innards of the ship. All right, Mia, you're going to like this. Kneeling beside the console, I call for Mia to watch me. Electrical wires and nodes carrying ether sprawl across the surface like the veins of some living beast. We're going to work on fine-tuning the void engine. It's tricky, but I think we can get pretty close today. Silas, can you prepare a wish? Word it something like, the void engine to activate. Not too much power, just enough to give me a read. Silas cracks his neck, the bones making an eerie popping noise, but he moves without hesitation, already preparing a coin betwixt his thumb and forefinger. Since he lost his memories, he's learned new ways to use his wishes, sacrificing either ether saturation for the future alongside his actual money. Ready when you are. I begin wiring the core, checking connections, and listening for any telltale hums or clicks that might indicate poor ether flow. I've done much to hone this, copying Leviathan's stolen divinity, but I know I'm still missing something. Mia's curiosity pokes through like a tangible force, thankfully unable to distract me through my practice with Primrose. This void engine of yours is interesting. It's not the ether we're used to. It's something else. You're trying to fold space, yes? Mia's excitement is impossible to hide, but I am impressed with how much she knows about what I'm attempting to achieve. Sort of. It's more like, if you imagine space as a fabric, the void engine is designed to pinch 2 points together, so we can skip over everything in between. That's how Leviathan can teleport. Abraham does the same by turning into a metaphysical thought, which is far more difficult to copy. And how does Silas' wish work into this? The Arca's intrigue doesn't end there, and I grin further. I love explaining things like this. Only Primrose really listens anymore, mostly because she has to. That's the trick. His power can make things function even when they shouldn't. He can wish for a result that defies logic and natural law, and reality adjusts itself around that wish. We just have to figure out what the engine needs to do. So, he gives it a nudge in the right direction, and I figure out the rest. We've done it before, just nothing to this extent. That's brilliant. I laugh at Mia's awe, her eye glowing with fascination as she takes it all in like a sponge. I never knew how much she enjoyed these kinds of things before, or maybe she didn't. This could all be new for her. Regardless, I turn to Silas with a nod. It's time for a test run. Can you go for it? I'm ready to measure what happens. The suit beneath my clothes contorts while I squint, the ether in my body accelerating my mind and perceptions beyond what I should be capable of. While I do so, Silas flicks the coin into the air, declaring his wish proudly. A few years ago, there would be a sense of self-loathing with each syllable, but now that is all hidden. I wish for the void engine to activate. There's a subtle shift in the air, the kind of change I've come to associate with his power, reality bending around his will. The lights on the panel flicker, and I catch the hum of the dimensional stabilizers coming online, a series of constructs powered by ether that can forcibly lock down space. Opening my eyes, I stare right at the spherical engine, sensing the movements in it. I trail the flowing ether, finding its patterns to nearly be beyond my understanding. But it's not. I can comprehend most of it, and that's good. I can make most of this on my own with some inscriptions and electricity. All right, that's good. That's... Suddenly, while I speak aloud, the console lights up like a beacon, and before I can react, the void engine roars to life as the wish goes further than I thought possible. The entire ship vibrates violently, shaking as if an invisible hand grabbed it. A sudden surge of power. Way too much, way too fast. Mia, what the hell? I yell, grabbing the console, and I flick off the power button. Unfortunately, all that does is turn off the lights. Silas, shut it off. That's too much. Silas growls, his hands rising in a defensive motion. It's not me. I didn't wish for this. My eyes open wide as I realize that I misunderstood the difficulty of teleportation. I thought I had only reached the point of folding space with the void engine, and that I still needed to figure out a way to pierce through it. How stupid. I overlooked the other dimensions. We didn't need to pierce anything. Simply folding it would be enough to transport us. My mind slams against the wall as the ship lurches violently to the side, and I can feel the space around us warping, the void engine pulling something, drawing us in. The stars, somehow outside the viewport, suddenly stretch, becoming streaks of light as we're flung across the universe. The hum of the engine becomes a deafening roar, and the pressure in the cabin shifts dramatically. We're moving. Mia shouts into my mind, half in awe, half in terror. Yeah, I noticed. I snap at her, trying desperately to regain control of the ship. The stars blur into an unrecognizable whirl of light and color, my stomach twisting as we are hurtled through space faster than we were ever supposed to. Then, as quickly as it starts, it ends. A deafening crack rings out, and the ship slams into something solid with a bone-rattling impact. The lights flicker, and I feel the sudden pull of gravity returning. Smoke fills the cabin, invading my lungs within an inch. The cooling system must have broken. I cough, stumbling toward the hatch, my hand scrambling for the emergency oxygen mask. The hatch opens with a wheeze, and I half fall, half stumble out, pulling the mask over my face and sucking in fresh air. Behind me, Silas follows, completely unfazed by the lack of oxygen. His long-dead nature makes breathing irrelevant. The smoke billows out from the ship, rising into the open air and ascending toward the skies above. The smell of burnt metal and fried ether inscriptions fills my nostrils as I take in the scene before us. Yeah, we're definitely not home anymore. Around us stretches an endless field of cerulean grass, its strange, soft blades waving lazily in a light breeze. The sky above is a shade of blue I've never seen before, more vibrant, almost electric. I glance at the horizon, then up at the stars. None of them look familiar. Not a single constellation matches what I know. We're not on our planet anymore. I sigh under my breath while Silas forks out a cigar from his pocket, hitting a puffy drag in the new world. He doesn't seem too alarmed by our sudden arrival, though. Neither am I. Nor is Mia. If anything, she's thrilled. Whoa. It's scary, sure, but we're both angels. We can handle this. Even if I stare up at the alien sky, my heart pounding and my mind racing to figure out where we are. But even after everything, there's only one thought I can voice. Well, that was one hell of a wish. Silas finally laughs, more smoke bursting from his faux lungs. Shaking his head, he points a thumb back to the Starseeker. Yeah, and you made one hell of a boat. So how long are we sightseeing until we return? I twist back toward the ship, my eyes running along the damage as I bit my lip. Things aren't looking all that good. I don't think we'll back it back before their play ends. This is gonna take a while. Silas rotates one eye, while Mia's vibrant pupil explores the surface of the newfound planet. Then, the undead rolls up his sleeve, prepared to get dirty. All right, tell me what to do. I've got 1,000 coins, and I haven't used any of this upcoming year's ether yet. I want to investigate more about this planet, but that can come later. We have no clue where we are, whether it is the den of a monstrous god or home only to plant life. Based on my readings, the air here is slightly toxic to humans. An angel like me, even with my non-physical sigils, shouldn't have too much of a problem for a few weeks, perhaps months, but it will be uncomfortable. Not to mention, Primrose is gonna kick my ass. Our anniversary is in 2 weeks. If I don't get back before then, wish for a coin to point our way home. While you do that, I'll check what's wrong. Silas doesn't say anything, but I can feel the shift in the air as he flicks his thumb over a coin, preparing to make another wish. His magenta eye glows faintly, reflecting the bizarre cerulean grass around us. Mia hums softly, the resonance of her voice almost soothing despite our situation. I crouch down near the open hatch of the Starseeker, smoke still curling up from its insides, and run my hand over the jagged edges of the hull. I'll need a rough heading if we're going to fix this in time. Silas closes his eyes, flicking the coin into the air behind me. It glints for a moment, shimmering with ether, and then spins violently, hovering just above his palm. When it finally lands, it points in a direction, high up, at an angle I quickly write down with the ship as an anchor. I can't imagine the price it would have been to do the good old fly toward the destination. Thankfully, a point is enough. Got it. That way. But it feels far. Of course it's far. I shake my head, leaning further into the bowls of the Starseeker. Yeah, but look, the grass is made of cobalt. Isn't that weird? That's poisonous to unsigiled. How is the grass alive? Ignoring Mia for the moment, I note down all of the Starseeker's vitals. It isn't in good shape. That much is obvious. The void engine, my pride and joy, is completely fried. The inscriptions around it are scorched, ether conduits snapped and leaking the stored substance into the open air. Worse yet, the dimensional stabilizers are cracked. Without them, the engine won't fold space correctly, and even if I managed to repair it, we'd end up warping straight into another planet or, worse, into some inhospitable dimension. I sigh, dragging a hand across my face. The void engine is busted. Like, really busted. It's not just about folding space. It's about folding it safely without tearing everything apart in the process. I need to develop something to protect the folder itself, protect us. We got lucky this time. Silas steps closer, his eyes narrowing as he examines the damage. We're stuck here, aren't we? I respond to him by pulling out my tools, starting with some basic diagnostics. Not forever, but it's going to take time. The good news is, you and Mia know a thing or two about barriers, right? Silas' one eye twinkles with the love for the woman she had hidden previously. Oh, Birdie's taught us so much. I could lecture you for days about ether barriers. It's her power, but she went all in on learning about them. She even developed a Zill recently that works on blocking ether inside a person or thing. I chuckle, though I know Mia's enthusiasm comes from a place of genuine interest rather than practicality. Still, her knowledge could be the key to getting us home. With Silas' help, too. It shouldn't take us all that long. Silas, start by reinforcing the ether inscription here with a wish, but remember, very low power. Another malfunction? The undead gets my meaning, and we all quickly fall into work. Thankfully, none of us need to sleep, so we just get to it, with my oxygen mask slowly dwindling. For the next several days, time seems to blur as we throw ourselves into repairing the Starseeker. Silas helps here and there, using his wishes to replace cracked stabilizers or rewire entire sections of the engine when we run out of spare parts. Meanwhile, I focus on redesigning the protective barrier around the void engine, working closely with Mia's guidance to construct something that will hold when we make the next jump through space. It's not about blocking the ether completely. You need to find ways to move the ether within the barrier, expelling the excess without going overboard. Like, the exhaust of those auto carriages you've made. Mia explains Birdie's technique as I inscribe pathways for the ether to flow on the engine's casing. I reply, wiping sweat from my brow. I'm trying to find that balance. We need enough ether flow for the fold to happen, but we can't let the space tear apart the engine. Who knows how many jumps we'll need to get back? We're close. This layering technique you're using, it's almost like Birdie's personal shields. Mia encourages me, though I know she's just happy to have someone new to talk to other than her typical two. The days pass in a repetitive rhythm. Repair, test, calibrate, fail, and repeat. The Void engine gradually, after far too many hours of work, starts to look like itself again, albeit with more intricate layers of protection, a web of ether, and a built-in shielding skill wrapped tightly around it. Silas doesn't complain, though he often leaves me to work while he explores the surrounding area, keeping an eye out for any threats, or, more likely, any local plant life to sample. He occasionally shows up with cerulean grass woven into his coat like some bizarre accessory. It seems, however, that there is no fauna here, only flora. How peculiar. On the morning of the 5th day, time kept by the watch on my wrist, not the 28 hours of the planet's day, I finally stand back from the engine. Patting my hands, I call Silas over. All right, I think we're ready for a test. Silas, chewing on some alien leaf, glances up. Apparently, he can taste that one. It must be spicy as all hell for an undead to feel it. You're sure about that? I shrug. I can never be sure about anything, and I was pretty certain that this wouldn't happen a few days ago. Regardless, I point to the engine. Just try it. Low power as before. Get it working. I don't want to spend the extra time to reverse engineer your wish. The shields were time-consuming enough. Silas cracks his neck again with that familiar popping sound filling the air. He then flips the coin in his hand, and as it soars into the air, losing its brilliance, he speaks his wish into existence. I wish for the Void engine to work. The ship hums to life, the lights flickering for a moment before stabilizing. I hold my breath as the engine vibrates with dangerous amounts of ether, the protective barriers humming around it. For a moment, nothing happens. Then, with a low, steady thrum, the ship begins to jolt, not violently like before, but with purpose. The ether flows through the conduits smoothly, and it seems to be holding firm with the added reinforcements. My heart pounds with excitement as it's finally working. The stars outside the viewport stretch again, but this time, there's control. The ship jumps, folding space around us in a smooth calculation that doesn't abruptly lose hold of reality. I feel the familiar pull of space warping, but it's manageable, held in place by the barriers we've built. Then, just as quickly as it started, the Starseeker lurches out of the void, settling back into normal space with a soft thud. The shaking stops, and I exhale sharply, relief washing over me. Again, I exit the ship, holding the oxygen mask against my mouth with its remaining supply, to find us on another unknown planet. However, this one is lifeless and simply a barren rock. To make matters worse, though, the wheels of the Starseeker are broken, shattered by the landing. We hadn't noticed before because the ship was partially in the ground, but now that it is above ground, I sigh. I can't let it stay like this. I'll be back. Gonna go find a round-shaped rock. I need to make a few wheels. Silas leans against the console while I walk away, and Mia's purple glow waves me away. It only takes me a few moments to find adequately sized rocks that I chop up with ether. I could use my power on it, but I need to save my ether as much as I can in case something goes wrong, and creation is one of the most intensive powers out there. Once I have the Stone Age wheels, I set them back onto the ship with Silas' help. Then, we take another jump with yet another wish, sending us across the stars after we orient ourselves with another wish. Man, I wish I had his power. It's too fucking versatile. Whatever, though. Creation's pretty cool, too. I grasp the wall as the now familiar lull of folded space welcomes me before it evaporates into nothingness. I lean against the console, staring out the viewport to see if we've made it. And to my surprise, outside, familiar constellations twinkle against the dark sky. We're home, and in time for my anniversary. She won't be that mad, right? I was only gone 5 days. The hatch opens with a press of a button, and I file out with Silas behind me as I realize we are in front of the house instead of behind it. The slight difference is caused by Silas running out of gold to spend on wishes. I had to agree to pay him back 100-fold for him to sign away his next 6 months of ether for everything to work appropriately. It was worth it, though. I saw the Void engine work enough to perfect it. Earl. Shit. Silas. Send us back. What? We just... An eerie puff of greenish smoke hurtles toward us from the house, only a few 100 feet away as Silas begins to use his wish. Unfortunately, he's too slow as a clasping hand takes away the ether in his body. Birdie? Come on. The undead woman giggles to herself, walking out the door of the quaint house while Primrose reconstitutes right in front of me. My wife's hand points a finger directly against my chest, and I lean back, fearful of what she'll say. Did you bring any souvenirs? Deflating as it's not as bad as it could have been, I reach behind me and give her the bluegrass. Primrose takes it with a smile, hopping down the Starseeker's frame like it's nothing and walking back to the house. Mia echoes into my thoughts with her own. No more complaints about Birdie. She could be Primrose. I give her a glare and wave her off. She's my wife. That's just how she shows her love. She was worried about me but won't say a thing until we're alone. Silas' eyes, both of them, raise in surprise before he nods. They must get it now. Primrose is a cruel bitch to just about everyone in the world. But she's nice to me. Nice enough to learn all she can about my technology and help where she can. I can't ask for anything else. Exiting the Starseeker entirely, I stand beside it and pat the metal, listening to its resounding beat. Silas climbs out, too, sighing as he lights another cigar. This one of that bluegrass, and I look up at the construct. This is our future. We'll send out scouts to the stars. Well, maybe in a few years. The Starseeker took me a whole year to make. Future ones will be faster, but we need more than just the ship. We need a full array of tools, specialized teams, and charted maps of the nearby dimensions and distant stars. Otherwise, we can't expect anyone to return alive. But for now, I'll start planning this anniversary. Maybe I take us to that planet with bluegrass. I think Primrose would like to be a first explorer.